Cory, if you didn't know. Just curious, do you guys know me from Superhuman, Terror in the Sky, Ancient Aliens? From which one? All of the above. Okay. Well, thanks for coming. So if you have heard me talk about stuff, you know that my focus is really more about, whoa. This is very blinding. I can't really see you, so if you make faces or something. Do you guys see the screen? Yeah, okay, great. So, yeah, so you know, I've been doing this work for a very long time. And my experience, if you haven't heard the story, is I started at a very young age. You know, I was like 5 years old when I started having experiences. That experience was coming in contact with energy, you know. All of a sudden, I just saw this light, and actually it was an intelligence, it was beings, because we were communicating spontaneously. And I realized that I could literally see, not just sense, but see, hear, communicate, and understand everything. And that contact experience, it's very hard to describe because it's not like as I'm communicating with you. It's when those types of experiences happen, you kind of become one with the energy. You just like merge and you understand everything. That's how aliens do it. You know how for those of you who did have any contact experience, they tell you things that they know about you. How do they know these things? They know because they merge with your consciousness, and your consciousness has all of the information. So I don't know if you were in the panel earlier. Were you in the panel earlier, somebody? Yeah, and so we were talking, like, people debate, like, what is consciousness, you know? So, because when you talk to scientists, they define consciousness as being conscious. They're like, oh, you're conscious, so that's consciousness. But I don't agree with that. Different scientists, for example, Tom Campbell, Dean Radin, Rudy Shield, different scientists came to understand, and that was also proven, that consciousness, you can look at it as a substance. It's like energy. And it's fundamental. Fundamental means is at the source of everything. It's, if there's a before and after, it would be before everything. There's no linear before after. But it's that substance, that energy. From that energy, this original energy, everything emerges. So the physical worlds emerge, you emerge, I emerge, animals emerge, the planets emerge. But as you emerge from this fundamental consciousnness, you're made slightly differently, right? We're going to talk about this. Because then we would all look like a planet, or we would all, you know? So that fundamental consciousness is what connects us all, basically. That's, if you look at life, reality from that perspective, everything starts to make sense. Telepathy makes sense because you're connected on some level, not on a visible level, but on this fundament, like behind the scenes. Makes sense? So telepathy makes sense, remote viewing makes sense, telekinesis makes sense, entanglement makes sense, everything starts to make sense. So all this to say, I started out by saying how my experience at the age of 5. So what happened was, these beings and that energy merged, and I realized that that's the energy, I call it lineage, that I had emerged from. So it was like my physical body as a 5-year-old was encased in this little girl or whatever. And then my consciousness like continued through them and through the universe. And I could kind of see and experience. Again, it's not seeing with these eyes, it's an experience like on a cellular level. You understand, I understood that that's kind of where I had come from. So of course I'm 5 years old, right? So, like telepathy makes sense, right? So I didn't say anything at the time. It was later that I realized that basically I was tapping into consciousness. It was the infinite quality of consciousness. So that energy stayed with me my whole life. And of course I understood that everybody's like that. I'm not special. There's nobody special. We all start with this pure consciousness and we choose this body. That's a whole different, although it's kind of related to what we're going to talk about today. So we choose this one body from that consciousness, and we choose the finite form for a certain time to do something. Creation is purposeful. It's not random. And so I realized that if we are all this way, like you came this way and you came this way, and we all came from this one massive source of consciousness, right? And we came in this body, we are meant to continue this communication, this line of communication, because that's who we really are originally, right? So the question was, okay, so what did my brain do to actually do that, like to open up to that lineage and to understand, it has nothing to do with past life regression. It's not a linear thing. It's literally understanding your true essence. And so that became the base of all my work. I spent 20 years, trying to figure out, well, if I did this spontaneously at the age of 5, then everybody should be doing this at the age of 5, and they probably are. But we forget, or we're told, oh, stop that, that's ridiculous, you didn't see, So I realized that the reason why I still remember, and I had to figure out the mechanics of this, is for me to teach others, to tell others, because at the end of the day, when you experience your original you, it's like all the information comes through. Everything that is who you are in this body, in this chair right now, is explainable. Why you choose a partner, why you're doing this line of work, why things aren't working, why you're getting sick, why you're getting sick this way versus that way. I don't believe in at all in I do, genetics. That's not really what I meant. I do believe there's such a thing as genetics, but I also believe that the DNA is programmable. So, in fact, epigenetics tells us that your genes, you come in with a certain set of genes and you are a certain way, but your environment affects your DNA, and then you become something else. So you didn't come, already with those external things. This means that the DNA is programmable. So if it's programmable in one way, it can be programmed in another way. So if I have a alcoholic father or whatever, and I'm supposed to have the alcoholic gene, well, I can change it now, you see? So anyway, I came in with that energy, and it stayed with me, and I worked on it for 20 years, trying to figure out, okay, so why aren't we taught these things in school, right? Why aren't we taught that we are more than what we see? Why aren't we taught that there is a way for your brain to remember the totality of your being? There is a way, So I started asking these questions, and what happened was basically I downloaded, so to speak. I remembered all of that, basically where we all came from and everything else. And I wrote the first book, The Visible and Invisible Worlds. I'm not sure if anybody read it. And eventually things got clearer and clearer and clearer. And I realized that there's a whole kind of much, much, much bigger picture. And of course, you know, we have issues every day, and we think, okay, so I have a stomach issue, a relationship issue, or a money issue, whatever issue we have here, and we try to figure out why we're stuck here and how to fix it from here, right? Okay, go see this doctor or this person, blah, blah, blah. And I realized, but wait. And first of all, it's you know, you try this, which is all part of the learning, and it's fine. But at the end of the day, I realized that if we are able to go back to that original essence that has all of the answers, it has the answers because you started your journey there. You didn't start your journey here. It certainly didn't start with your birth. Ability to sense that I am directly connected to an infinite source. I'm not there. I don't have that, right? So I